Let's set up a Python development environment. In a professional development environment, it is recommended to create a separate environment for every project you work on. The reason for this is each project may need a different Python version as well as different third-party libraries. For example, one project may need Python 3.9 version, whereas another project may need Python 3.10 version. So we need a way to manage our development environment. We will be using Miniconda tool to create a Python environment. The Miniconda tool uses Conda as the environment and the package manager. So let's first install the Miniconda tool and then run the conda command to create a Python environment. So go ahead and download Miniconda for your operating system from the conda.io website. Once it is installed, open the command line terminal and run the following commands. Conda create -n py310 python equal to 3.10. Now here in this command, py310 is the environment name and we are installing Python 3.10 version in this environment. You can choose any valid environment name that you find suitable for your project. Here we have chosen py310 as the environment name. Now you need to activate this conda environment. So for this, run the command conda activate py310 and then you can install a third-party Python package called ipykernel. ipykernel, this package will be very useful for your Visual Studio Code editor. Now let's go ahead and install our code editor. We will use Visual Studio Code, which is one of the most popular code editor available today. It is freely available, so go ahead and download it. After installation, you will need to add few extensions in your VS Code to allow your VS Code to use and communicate with your conda environment. Open the editor and select the extensions icon. Search for the Python extension provided by Microsoft and install it. Along with Python extensions, in the background it will also install few other extensions automatically, and that will be very useful for your work. Next, search for another extension called Black Formatter. This is also provided by Microsoft. This extension adds auto code formatting feature to your code editor. Black Formatter requires few settings to work properly, and for that go to the File menu, Preferences and click on Settings. Then follow the instructions provided on the screen. You need to select black as the default formatter for your Python project. Next, you need to add your project directory to the VS Code editor. So for this, go to the File menu and select Add folder to Workspace. Select the folder where you have your Python project files or you want to keep your Python project files. Select that directory. Now go and save this workspace so that next time when you open your code editor, it will be easy to open the workspace files automatically. Now it is time to select a Python interpreter for your work. You have already created a conda environment. So now let's connect the conda with this VS Code editor. Press Ctrl+Shift+P and type select interpreter. From the drop down menu, select the option Python interpreter. VS Code will search for the environments that are available in your machine, and then you can select the conda environment that you created in the previous steps. We created py310, so we selected that. So finally, it is time to start writing some example code. Create a new file and save it as .py extension. There are multiple ways you can run the code in VS Code. So let's try them. I am adding a function to demonstrate this. The first method to run your Python code is using command line. So open the command line and go to the project directory using the cd command. Now ensure that you have your conda environment active. Remember that you can activate your conda environment using the conda activate py310. Here you can see py310 is active now. Then run your Python program. The second way to run the Python program is far more easier, but it is specific to the VS Code editor. Now you see the Python code that we wrote earlier. Whichever code block that you want to run, write the hash space percentage on the top of that code, and a menu will appear just above your code. You can click on the run and it will run your code. So now let's also create a Jupyter notebook. This will be useful if you want to do some quick experimentation. Press Ctrl plus Shift plus P and type Jupyter notebook. Save the file with a suitable name in your project directory. Now you can write your code and then press Ctrl Enter to run the code. You can also press Shift Enter to run the code cell, and that will create a new cell as well. If you have any queries, drop me a message in the course forum along with the screenshot. If that doesn't resolve the issues, meet me after the class. Happy coding!